Fazilullah with us, who has been a data superhero for 5 times, who is also a head of data at Nordic Field, and has, I don't know even how many Snowflake related certifications. So I think we have the best person to just give us a download about what happened. Thank you so much, Fuzzy, for joining in today.
Glad to be here.
Yes, so I'll not keep anybody waiting, and we'll try to quickly go through the slides first and then go into the demo. Just a few quick things. There's a Q&A tab. Feel free to put your questions right there. We'll take them towards the end, so that we maintain the flow. And the agenda for today is basically we'll try to break down what summit announcements were, Cortex Sense and AI governance, which was one of the few big announcements. Then we'll go like a little bit in depth on everything about CoCo. Then we talk about how do you actually build your stack, which is, relevant for doing all of these agentic AI stuff. And then we go into live demo and Q&A. So, Fuzzy, I think the first question for you, the vision behind Snowflake Summit, what major announcements have been, and like how has the journey evolved so far?
Yeah, perfect. What a good question to begin with. And I think Snowflake it has been on a very consistent strategic journey since it started. Probably some people call it's just a data warehouse, but in the cloud. And then slowly we saw it started evolving into something a bit more, something a bit more, and bit more. But yeah, Snowflake, I think it started with your very core data problems, bringing your data in one place, separating compute and data so you can actually use the scale of the cloud and just scale infinitely. And then the second step they took was, all right, now you have all your data in one place. What more can you do? And then it was like, all right, let's bring machine learning to it. Let's bring all the AI and machine learning to it rather than pulling your data out. And then it was like, now we have AI. Now we need something to actually guardrail around it. And like, let's bring the governance and orchestration with all the Horizon stuff that Snowflake is building to your data, to your models. And now with the AI revolution that we are living in, so now it's like, now let's bring AI agents on top so we can really automate our workflows, everything related to data in one place, living in Snowflake. So you don't have to switch systems, you don't have to switch context, you don't have to define your guardrails in multiple places. Everything can live in one place in harmony. Use the scale of the cloud, you can scale with as much compute as you want while keeping all the guardrails intact. So I think that has been the broader vision behind Snowflake strategy, and then that was also the theme of the summit to bring that agentic enterprise to you. So your tools they have the power to scale as they should scale with this AI revolution.
That is pretty cool and interesting. And I remember our CEO talking about it one day that, there was a time when nobody really thought of getting getting your data into cloud. And Snowflake was like, why can't we do that? And from there to here, I think we've covered long bases, right? Moving into a few quick announcements, and I think before the announcements, we need to understand what a few of these terminologies mean. So over to you. Can you help us with these, the terms that we're going to be using
Yeah.
forward?
So every time Snowflake releases something, they will also have a small disclaimer that it's private preview, it's going into preview, it's public preview, or it's GA.
Mhm.
So private preview, that's when it's in closed beta, as you can say. So you can get access to it by reaching out to your Snowflake reps. They can get you in touch with the product teams who are actually working with the feature, and then you can help them with the feedback. So the purpose of having a closed private preview was so they can really iterate with you very closely, and then you are not building productionized systems on it yet. But once the private preview is done, it goes into public preview. Still, you can expect some changes into whatever is in preview, but now it's available for everyone to test it out. And finally, when it's ready to be rolled out, it becomes GA, generally available for everyone. So then it has gone through the testing, it has gone through several iterations, several feedback loops, and now it's ready for you to build your productionized workloads on.
Amazing. So moving on to what was shipped this summit.
A lot.
Yeah.
And again, I would say this list or even this slide deck is not an exhaustive list of what was announced at the summit. It was just there were so many announcements, and we have cherry picked what we think might be the most relevant for you, especially when it comes to working with CoCo, AI, and stuff. So yeah, of course, CoCo, Snowflake CoWork, Cortex Code, Snowflake Cortex agents, enhancements to their AI, SQL, semantic models. So that was the theme around in the AI part. So how do you move from like traditional AI LLMs to more agentic and autonomous workloads? And then you have Datastream, OpenFlow, Iceberg, and SPCS, Snowpark Container Services, and the containerized runtimes for agents as well now. So everything that has to do with bringing your data in or interacting or storing your data. And then, of course, with AI and the guardrails, the governance is a hot topic right now. How do you define context? How do these different agents that you are building on top of your data, they are making sure the context is shared, it's consistent across the board. So for that, Snowflake has Horizon Context and Cortex Sense. There are native apps which are coming in, and then they are also being rolled out in the Trust Center, so you can actually go in and see how does it look when it comes to security. And then for the developers who want to build, you do have CoCo CLI, so you get the similar experience as Claude Code or Codex CLI. You have IDE plugins for Snowflake and CoCo. You have MCP support now, so you can plug in your external tools with Snowflake and mobile apps for CoCo as well. Right now, you can go to App Store or Play Store, search for Snowflake CoCo for developers or Snowflake CoCo. It will show up, but it's in preview, so you won't be able to log in. So there's a lot to unpack.
Yes, I think these announcements are endless, and I think we need to, cherry pick a few to
Yeah.
which one to focus on and which one do we go actual in depth and which folks can just start using, which mostly will be in GA. So moving on to Horizon Context, let's talk about it. How do you think it's the foundation for, almost all enterprise AI?
Yes. I picked this one first on purpose because now everything is about context. You have your data spread across multiple SaaS tools, multiple data lakes, databases, and BI and ETL tools. And Horizon Context is basically a governed Snowflake layer or context layer in the middle that helps you manage and govern all of that context. And parts of it are GA, parts of it are in preview. That's why the previous slide said in preview. So soon you will be able to connect your Tableau dashboards or Power BI dashboards and your other databases. So all the business context is coming into Snowflake, and basically you can define what does it mean for your data. What does your data mean? Sorry. So it should be a very central curated set of a centrally curated context which lives in Snowflake, which is connected to all the tools, and it's constantly updating. And that's what he used to connect Snowflake CoCo, CoWork, your agents built on Snowflake, and you can also pipe it back to the BI tools. And it's part of the bigger offering from Snowflake on their Horizon catalog, where they are redefining how the data governance should work like, and then how everything should be central with one security policy scaled throughout the organization.
Understood. And moving on to the next one, I think Cortex Sense. It is also something about the context layer. So can we go in depth in that as well?
I saw a lot of people confusing it with Horizon Context, uh,
Mm.
but Horizon Context, it's a context layer. It's centrally managed context layer in Snowflake. Cortex Sense is more, you can think of it, it's a runtime which is extracting data all the time from that context layer. Uh, so Cortex Sense, I think it will be rolled out very soon. They said mid-July for preview. So it might already be out. I'm not 100% sure about that. Uh, but basically, you can see on the diagram on the right-hand side, it's basically pulling in data live from your indexed connectors, structured knowledge, semantic views, lineage, schema metadata, unstructured knowledge. So the Cortex search that you have defined, your unstructured documents living in cloud storage, and then also business logic. And then as your agents are querying your data, as natural language queries are coming in, Cortex Sense will be able to gather the relevant context from each of those and then serve you the best. So you don't have to really redefine a lot of the stuff. It's a central runtime which lives on top of the Horizon context. So it only comes into action when you are actually requesting something through LLMs, through CoCo, however you want to do it. And then it goes back to Horizon context and gets you that. So that's the difference. It uses, yep, it says query history, metadata, BI dashboards, external data, everything that it has at its disposal to serve you the best. And the benchmarks, they are published on Snowflake's official blog. They are just mind-blowing right now.
Interesting. So we've gone through two of the major, announcements. What about like cloud agents, automation? I think that's where the execution layer comes in, right?
And if you have tried CoCo, especially CoCo for desktop, you might have seen so every session is spinning up an isolated container. So everything that you do is isolated. And then you can now run Python scripts, install different packages, really, really scale things up in there. And that what helps CoCo being this dynamic and powerful because now those limits are kind of removed. You are in isolated environment, so you aren't really messing around with your Snowflake stuff. Or if
Mhm.
you break things, they won't actually break in your Snowflake environment unless you deploy them. So it powers Snowflake CoCo automations, your like Slack agents, and it's a really really powerful tool, I would say. And with that, also automations are coming to Snowflake CoWork. They are in closed preview right now. And soon you will see in your Snowflake CoWork environment, there is an automation tab where you can basically trigger events or reports to spin up, and they are governed with all Snowflake access policies. So really, really powerful stuff coming to your Snowflake CoWork and other environments very soon.
Amazing. That's good to hear. And while we talk about all the AI stuff that has happened, we also need to talk about governance because I think they go quite literally hand in hand.
Yes, they do. So I would say the five layers that we have written here. One is AI guardrails, so they are already there. So Snowflake enables them by default for all the AI agents that you are creating. But then also they are creating agent identity. Uh, it's in public preview, so each of your agents will have its own cryptographic identity. So the apps know that this is coming from an agent, and then what extra steps they need to apply to that in order to make sure no sensitive data is being leaked. And then we also have data movement policies, and these are in private preview, but they are Snowflake native objects. And then they control how your data is moved throughout your Snowflake instance and across the org. So you can really put guardrails on what should be we move and what should we keep. And then, of course, the ransomware protection, Snowflake is trying its best to make sure all these security packages are shipped along with everything that you are doing on Snowflake. Uh, and I can take the last one as well with like AI security posture management. So if you go to your trust center right now, so in Snowflake, if you go to your trust center under, I think it's under governance, you will see a tab where it's called AI security, and there it has all of these, maybe not data movement policies right now, but everything else is there. And you can set up these policies on your agents, and then you can monitor them over there. So it's like they are creating that one central tab to have an overview of your account and what's happening on the agent side, how the data is moving, and how things are evolving over there.
That is amazing. I think we've covered almost everything, and I think just the last thing before we go into CoCo. So, how has the evolution of AI agents been so far? And personal work engine, what does that exactly mean?
Yes. So right now, if you're working with Snowflake Intelligence, now called Snowflake CoWork, you might have seen like shared agents. You have to choose different agents from a drop down, and you get a very generic experience how it's supposed to behave with instructions. But now Snowflake is turning it into a personal work engine. So it will start adapting to what you're asking. It will have a shared memory across your chats. It will read your preferences, your patterns, how you are scheduling or going about different tasks. And it will automatically try to orchestrate your queries and then have them go to the right agents. So it becomes your personal work agent because it's learning from how you are interacting with your data and then really tailoring its needs for you. I think it's also in the closed preview right now. It's coming out very, very soon. But yeah, with it, automations will be available. Personal skills that are only relevant to you, they will be available. You won't have to select multiple agents for one query and then another one for another query. Everything will be more, what do you say, automatic or yeah, it will be automated. Yeah.
Yes. Automated is the word for us then. Moving on to the talk of the town, CoCo. What is exactly CoCo and how can you start using it?
Yes. So almost 6 months ago, Snowflake launched CoCo as Cortex Code. Uh, and it started as CLI tool and a Snowside experience, which had all the native Snowflake knowledge. So it had everything which was in the Snowflake doc. So it really understood your Snowflake environment. Uh, and then it was developed to help you build your around your Snowflake platform already. And then slowly they started adding support for Airflow, DBT, Spark, different MCPs. So really building into like just one AI tool that you need. And then on this summit, they also rebranded it from Cortex Code to CoCo because it was doing now it's doing much more than just code. It's not just your coding buddy. You can actually automate and build your workflows within Snowflake using CoCo. And yeah, Christian also mentioned in the keynote when you're not sure about anything, just use CoCo. So yeah,
Interesting. Where does CoCo actually fits for us all?
yep. So being a developer, so all the interactions that you are doing with Snowflake platform, CoCo comes before that. So your Snowflake platform, it holds your metadata, data, compute storage, governance, access policies, and you can interact with all of those using CoCo. So just query in natural language. CoCo will automatically see what skills it needs to apply, what's the environment. It's aware of your personal preferences, and then it will interact with Snowflake platform, and then Snowflake will be the tool where you are basically orchestrating stuff using CoCo. So be it building your data pipelines, be it uh, auditing your pipelines, auditing your Snowflake account, defining or evaluating your access policies or rules, everything can be done by CoCo now.
That is pretty cool, I would say. And what's the status of Coco Desktop?
CoCo Desktop is generally available. Unfortunately, I couldn't prepare today's demo on CoCo Desktop because it's not available for trial accounts.
Mhm.
But if you're a Snowflake customer, you can just download CoCo Desktop and start building on top of it. And it has persistent memory across sessions. It's a very, very powerful tool, and we will see a glimpse of it, but there's a lot more that you can do than what's covered in the demo.
Amazing. And I think let's talk a little bit more about how the Coco performance benchmarks are, because I think whenever we see these kind of benchmarks is when the adaptability or the trust in that particular product starts. So would love to know more about that.
Yeah, I think with CoCo, since it's developed by Snowflake, so it has that advantage of being native to Snowflake. So everything that you have to or want to execute within Snowflake, CoCo will have that advantage over other premier models, I would say. So the benchmarks are coming from Snowflake's internal testing using the ADE bench framework. And then CoCo outperforms both Codex and Cloud Code. Uh, and yeah, it's using less tokens, so it's saving you some cost, and it's also a little bit faster.
Amazing. Moving on to the probably the age-old question that everybody is excited about AI, but we need to do our basics right. So what's your thought on that, Fuzzy?
Yes, so I think it's very important, and then it's been my mantra as well. Like there is no AI strategy without a good data strategy. So if you don't have good data, you cannot really build AI on top of it. So bad data, it will lead you to bad context, bad AI, and then yeah, disaster will come out. So
Yeah.
yes, even the best coding agents, they cannot really fix your poor data quality. So in order to nail your AI, you need to nail your data first. And yeah, you need to really get control of your data strategy before you scale to anything else, I would say.
That is pretty much true. And I think this is where we can probably kind of jump in. So we always hear like garbage in, garbage out, right? And that's quite literally what it means to build an AI agent or anything related to AI over a bad data strategy, right? So for building these foundation, we have basically concluded it down to four major things. One is that all your source systems should be in Snowflake. B, you have to make it near real time, if not real time, to make sure that everything is fresh, everything is usable, and we are not giving stale old insights back to the teams. And C, we need to make sure that processing and serving is there, which means your transformation, your governance, your lineage all need to be there, whenever you're making a data strategy. And see, which is the delivery part, which is post Snowflake part, building semantic views, Streamlit apps, Cortex data sharing. But that kind of comes after you make sure that all of these three steps are in place. And that's where Hivo comes in, right? We have about 150 fully managed sources, which makes sure that there's continuous ingestion, there's change data capture so that you make sure that your latency is low, near real time. We make sure that the schema drift is handled very automatically so that there is no bad data getting pushed into your Snowflake warehouse. Also, there's one more thing that we typically do at Hivo, which is like your pipeline monitoring. We have to make sure that everything related to freshness, lag, quality, what happened to the pipeline, where was the drop, if there was any, why was this event sidelined. We give you at a job level and at an event level, which makes it very clear what exactly happened and nothing becomes black box for you. And there's also over all of that. We have to make sure that it is operationally reliable, which means we do 3 to 4 auto retries until we make sure that we sideline that particular event or a job, which means that we try to make sure that we push all the data in the right schema. It's pretty fault tolerant, and governance is kind of guaranteed built in, so that you make sure that all your AI endeavors don't fail downstream, right? And moving on to how the typical stack looks like. So we have about 150 connectors, and there are more in counting. We have an SLA of 2 days per connector. You push all your data through Hivo to Snowflake. That's where you use your CoCo, you build your AI apps, which basically concludes it to like better pipelines, better context, and better AI outcomes. And talking about that, we need to make sure that we build that live as well. So Fuzzy, off to you. I would love for us to go back and start with building our Coco live with
Yeah,
folks.
let's do it. All right. I'm sharing my screen now. Hopefully it's visible to everyone.
Yep, it is.
Perfect. Perfect. There is also Snowflake preview features. You will find it Snowflake documentation at the very bottom, so you can see which features are coming out very soon. But let's start with CoCo. So once you log into your Snowflake account, whether your actual account or a trial account, you will see this little blue dot over here or icon over here, which says open or move CoCo, and that's your entry point to interact with CoCo. I will, yeah. So over here, you can chat with it. You have, yeah, you can do quite a bit over here. You can choose which models should it answer with. I will just use auto. You can switch it to plan mode, and you can also upload files over here. The dataset that I will be using today, it's also available on Snowflake Marketplace. And I think if you just type in Snowpark for Python, weather data, this one will pop up. So I just install that onto my Snowflake instance, and you will probably see it here. Yep, here is the shared database, and that's the data set that I will be using. So first thing, without telling anything to CoCo, we can just say, all right, this is the dataset that we want to work with. And without giving it any context, I have saved some questions from before, like what was the hottest day in New York City since 2020? So let's see what it comes up with. It has no context of the data. It's probably looking at the data for the first time. Yeah, it's looking at the table structure, but it should be able to get us the answers that we want. So now you see it's did the search, looked at the data, it wrote a query, and then it automatically, yeah, it's searching for certain postcodes or zip codes, and now it returned us the data like this was the hottest day, 24th of June 2025. So very simply, right out of the box, it's still very powerful. It can understand your data as long as your data is well maintained, it's structured, and there are no uh, hidden surprises in the data. Let's see, let's do more. I will close this. Let's ask it to show the monthly average temperature for the last 3 days, but now as a pivot table. Let's see what it can do. So it's running the query again. It's again restricting itself to New York. And now there we go. We have the pivot table and it tells us that it's done it in Fahrenheit. Well, we can ask it to change it, but let's continue. And now I can also ask it to compare snowfall totals by winter season. And it should automatically be defining the winter season here based on months, which are, yeah, there we go, October till March. So 6 months. And it's asking to run this command. I will just allow everything in this session. And there we go. So both in inches and centimeter. And it tells us which one was. So this current year was probably the snowiest. Perfect. So right out of the box, if you have your data, just ask CoCo to read from the columns and then just try to ask it some questions. It should do pretty okay, even without any semantic layer. Uh, and then second part about managing Snowflake. So now I want to, let's say, restrict some rules to read this data. So I need to define certain rules. I can ask it to create a weather analyst role that can only select from this database and a weather admin role that has full access, and then wire them into role hierarchy under sysadmin, and then show me the grants to verify. So one, it was reading all the data, and now it's all interacting with and creating actual Snowflake objects, which can help us uh, run. So it's asking me to do this. I will do always allow create. So rules created. I will grants are being done. Hierarchy wired. So weather analyst goes to weather admin, that goes to sysadmin. Now setting up the imported privileges. Yep, perfect. It has created a hierarchy, and we can see that if we go to users and roles, and then roles, and then if you look at the graph, let's so you see here we have a very clean hierarchy now: account admin, sysadmin, weather admin, and then weather analyst. So these two are created just now. And if you look at the database, we should also see them here that weather admin and weather analyst can use it. Perfect. And now let's move on to the third part where we are actually building a Streamlit app that connects to this database. And then it can show temperature as a trend line, compare what's actual versus what feels like, and a section where user can ask questions in natural language. This one is not doable on trial accounts because there are limitations with how LLMs interact. So for instead of this one, we can, in fact, I've done this. I will rather show that one instead of doing it again. Streamlit app. Yeah, it was co-authored with CoCo. I will simply run this. Close this. It's made. Didn't render the emoji up top, but here you can see average in Celsius max and min. And then it gives you. So it was just this one prompt that built this app with 3 different tabs: actuals versus feels like, trend. It has a date picker. You can choose how far back you want to go, and it will adjust automatically. And it has data sent till yesterday, I think. And then weather insights. So now they are queries which just run which month had the most snowfalls. If I run the query, it will give me quickly go back and then give me the results. So we can build now whole Streamlit apps in just one prompt, and it will generate all the artifacts for you. It will generate everything, and yeah, sets it up pretty nicely, I would say. So once that's done, the last part I wanted to show is also the data governance. So yeah, now with access control policies and everything, now let's say we want to classify the columns in weather history table for sensitive data. So now you can also automate these workflows. It's using a predefined skill called data governance. I have to, yeah, it knows which data I have asked it for. That's a weather data set. So it says classification cannot run directly on the shared or imported tables. Let's create a new, so it has identified two columns, postal code and country. Let's create a new database called, and copy this table over there. And now I will ask it to, and now I've asked it to classify the columns in this new table, and now it's going to sandbox public history there. That's the name of the table. And then lastly, I will just ask it to create a masking policy on postal code. So weather analyst, the role that we created before, it cannot see the real values. There we go, two of them identified, and now it will just creating a masking policy and applying it. Yes. While it does it, are there any questions in the chat?
No questions that I can see, but guys, feel free to add questions if you have any, or if you want us to show you something more, feel free to add that.
Yes. There we go. So two prompts, now we are able to see, like weather admin, it can see the real value, but if we go through a different role, weather analyst, it will only see the masked values. So really, really powerful. And now it's up to your creativity how you want to use CoCo. It can manage your Snowflake instance for you. It can track costs, and it can see where you are leaking costs and give you recommendations. It can help you build AI agents or clean your data. So yeah, put it to good use. And then, yeah, we talked about Trust Center. And then here you can also define the AI security part. I need the admin role. Trust Center. Okay, yeah, this is a tried account, so I'm not sure which role it is now. But yes, that was it from the CoCo demo that I had planned.
Awesome. I think that was pretty informative, and I hope that folks can quickly start using Snowflake CoCo and whatnot. Just give me a quick second, and then we go back to the slides where we have, your first week checklist. That means you make sure that these are the things that you require before dive in. So, Fuzzy, I think you have built these CoCo led Streamlit apps and whatnot before as well, right? So, what should be the first thing that folks should keep in mind?
Yeah, I would say as soon as you are connected to CoCo and then you have connected it to your Snowflake instance, like first finding out what's your best CoCo flavor, whether you want to use it within Snowflake or through desktop app or through CLI. For me personally, desktop app is my preferred version right now. So it's always between the desktop app or the CLI. But I would say audit your account as soon as you get access to it. Audit it on, yeah, different security compromises. Where can you improve costs? Where are you leaking costs? How does certain warehouse perform? And then use it to build some guardrails and then account-wide resource monitors so you can really stay ahead of like anything that could go wrong with your Snowflake account. So be more proactive on the costs, on any unsurprising thing that can happen with your Snowflake instance.
Interesting. And I think that brings us towards the end of the webinar today. Folks, please feel free to drop all your questions here. We'll wait a couple of minutes to make sure if you have any questions, we answer those. Meanwhile, Fuzzy, I think it was a lot of information for all of us. And pretty insightful. I hope, like, everybody who joined in today had like a good time to just bundle this information into small cohorts so that they can start using one by one.
Mm.
And it was a pretty interesting one for me as well. I do not see any questions right now. So I think we'll end it here itself. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Thank you so much, Fizzy, once again, for taking out time and making sure, we all go through this together. We hope to do more of such webinars. Feel free to drop us if there's a new topic that you guys have in mind and want us to cover. And thank you so much, Fizzy. Hope we can do it again on a different topic as well.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Just